Ledama's vote alone will not be able to change anything in this country, and that's a reality.
And that's how it's supposed to be.
It is not supposed to be like that. Show me one country in the world whereby one member of parliament vote decides what happens.
That's exactly
there is fiction and there's reality.
Ledama's vote alone should not determine what happens, right? It should be Ledama going into that parliament and convincing the others.
I can try.
And then they all vote. And then the majority's vote will carry the day.
You know,
right?
Eric.
It used to be those days where one person's vote outside of parliament would carry the day. You seem to be taking us back there. We're saying one person sitting in State House has a stronger vote than all delegations in the Senate.
Can I be honest with you?
349 members.
Can I tell you something which you will hate to hear from me?
Please tell us.
Yes, that one person sitting in the executive, one vote, which of course he doesn't vote, but that one person sitting in the State House has power. Okay, and I'll be very honest with you, than a lot of politicians, because when he sits there, he's been put there by the majority of votes in this country who think the way he thinks.
Yeah.
Okay? Today, that's the reason why we have the majority and the minority party.
So let me push back here. One person sitting in State House today is wielding power that is more than the votes in Parliament.
True.
That
very true.
Is wrong.
It is not wrong because
that is not.
I'll explain to you what it is not. Let me explain to you. Let me tell you, Eric. Allow me just finish 20 seconds.
Let me just finish this. That is not why we re-engineered our state with a new constitution. We re-engineered our state so that that one person does not wield all the power.
No, I think you're twisting it differently. Do you know why? Do you know why that one person has representatives? Do you know why that one person has a lot of power? Because he gets power from the people who belong to his political party.
That's true.
Okay. And now in the Senate, we have UDA party, we have ODM. Historically, ODM ideologically has been known to be a social democratic party, one that always checks the government, one that always tries to position things in a different way. Listen, right now, the reality of the thing is that when the members of parliament of UDA sit and decide that this is what we want to do, that's the reality. They don't only sit just because they're in parliament and there is separation of powers. They don't just sit on their own, but they have to go and sit with that one person who sits in the executive to say, gentlemen, what did we promise Kenyans that we are going to do for them? We promised this and this and this and this. Okay, so if we promise them that, there's a piece of legislation which is coming. And I want to explain to you why I believe this piece of legislation will help us be able to deliver to these Kenyans. That person convinces his own party caucus, and they live there as one. Then they come now and convince us and tell us, gentlemen, we are the ones in power. This is what our manifesto said. We argue back and forth and say, this is not right for the country, this is bad for the country, you know?
Yep.
Ultimately, we make a decision.
Yep.
A decision which is clearly defined by the reality of the day, that the majority will always have their way and the minority will have their say.
Yep. Very well put.
So that's the reality.
That's a very good picture that you've painted. However, the reality is that one man in State House, whether it is the previous one controlling Jubilee or the current one controlling Kenya Kwanza, is actually controlling even the people who have been sent by citizens to parliament.
I completely disagree. Let me tell you. Do you know why do you know why the three of you did not vote in parliament?
Senator, in the last parliament.
I want to answer her. Do you know why the three of you do not vote in parliament?
Because we're not elected.
No, because you send me to vote for you.
Exactly.
So you gave me your power. So now the person who is you delegated. Okay? Yes. So the only time you can take away that power, and I welcome you to take it away, if you feel that I have not done what is supposed to be done, is August 2027. If you feel like this government has wasted your time. This government has not delivered to you. Vote that government out. Put a government that you believe will be able to
do
help you.
Three quick comments.
Before the comments, I just want to respond to this one.
Okay,
Senator, you're saying very, very good things, and you are painting the black cap as white. Okay, it's very good.
The reality.
It's very good. You know that the last parliament, this is the 13th parliament, the 12th parliament, when we're getting into the 13th parliament, we talked about the 12th parliament having been captured by the executive. There's been talk of the 13th parliament having been captured by the executive. That's the reality. Capture means they don't have a brain. They left it somewhere. They go and they use the executive's brain in parliament.
Disagree.
When just the other day, all data shows that after 5 years, the voter gets so annoyed with the person that they've sent to parliament that over half of them are sent back home. Why? Because the people feel you do not represent me
adequately.
Now, of course, there's another whole argument that I'll make about the voter. That's on another day. But the point here is, we have nincompoops in parliament. And I'm sorry to use that term.
I'll explain to you something. One of the things that you seems to forget, or you intentionally forget,
yes,
and you dupe the public out there because of the power of this mic, is that we have two houses of parliament. And I want to invite you to go back to the Hansard and to go back to the Constitution and our standing orders to be able to understand how votes are carried out in Parliament. Parliament is both the National Assembly and the Senate. But I can tell you this, when you ask people out there what Parliament is this, they will tell you it is the National Assembly. I don't vote for the budget. I'll tell you that. I participate in the budget making process. You know, I go through that whole process. You know, we've got committees. The power that I have in the Senate, and I want to tell you this, so that if this conversation we are having are conversations that are designed to be able to help the country, be able to leapfrog to where other countries, I don't even know which example I can give you, because before I'll probably give you another country, but that country is moving more into totalitarianism than what we are. Is that in terms of the Constitution, let us look at the powers that the National Assembly has versus the powers that the Senate has. Because you sort of like generalize everything, and you come here and you castigate members of the Senate or members of Parliament in total, not knowing that there are certain powers that the Senate does not have, and there are certain powers that the National Assembly. Because Eric said, which I agree with him. I agree with him because it's a perception.
It's blanket to all.
Okay, it's a blanket to all.
The functions that you're supposed to be performing in the Senate are controlled from State House.
No, I disagree. Eric, I tell you, Let me tell you.
Just told us.
What I say to you is this: it is not one person that controls. Let me tell you something. When the president calls his PG, the first thing that the president does, which Raila used to do, okay? He would be like, gentlemen, we were elected into office because of this ideology. This is what we want to be able to push through.
Yep.
Okay?
Yep.
This is what I stand for. This is what will help me deliver for the people who took us to parliament.
Yep.
We need roads, we need hospitals, we need, we need all these things. To be able to fund that, we need to raise taxes. So, of course, a few people will say, no, taxes are too much. You'll be like, okay, show us. How do we end up, doing what? Building these roads? So they'll argue back and forth. But because of the perception out there that the executive has so much power, of course, you will propagate that and tell people that it is State House that controls. No, State House does not control.
I feel like people
sit down.
I don't think our microphones need to tell people.
No, the reality is
their lived reality every day.
The reality is that